You know that feeling when your head hits the pillow after a long day, wrapped snugly in the embrace of your favorite quilt? Comforting, isn't it? But what if that very comfort held a secret? One that whispered in tones only your mind, in its most fragile state, could comprehend. Welcome, dear seeker of shadows. I am Violet Nocturne, your guide through the unsettling labyrinth of the human condition, draped in the fabric of horror. Tonight's tale is not for the faint of heart. Consider this your invitation to stay awake, long after the story fades. It's called The Whispering Quilt. A seemingly mundane object, this quilt, the star of our tale, rests folded on the corner of a faded antique bed in a New England cabin. It's an heirloom, passed from generation to generation, covered in soft, muted blues and faded roses. The type of thing that breathes history, love, and perhaps malevolent intent. Our protagonist, Amelia Dawson, a bright-eyed travel blogger, had chosen this cabin for a month of solitude to finish her latest book. She was drawn to its isolation, surrounded only by thick woods and a shimmering lake, a scene postcard perfect. But perfection, my friends, has its edges. The cabin came at a suspiciously low price and was described as quaint, though the photos didn't reveal much of its interior. Amelia arrived expecting wear and tear. What she didn't expect was the quilt, or the way it seemed anchored to the bed, as though it had grown roots into the ancient mattress. The first few nights were uneventful. She spent them sipping wine by the fire, writing, and occasionally peeking outside to enjoy the forest under a pale crescent moon. The quilt remained folded like a harmless artifact. But then, one evening, curiosity struck, and she decided to drape it over her shoulders while she read in bed. That choice, dear viewer, was the first misstep in a dance with the sinister. It began subtly, a faint whisper, just as she teetered on the edge of sleep. Incoherent, yet intrusive. Initially, she brushed it off as her imagination, amplified by the cabin's stillness. Who wouldn't write it off? After all, silence can play tricks on a busy mind. But over the nights, the whispers grew clearer, more articulate, as if the quilt was learning her language. It spoke her name, her secrets, and her regrets. By the fourth night, Amelia could no longer ignore it. "Are you real?" she asked in a trembling voice, clutching the quilt tightly, as though she could wrest meaning from it by force. The answer came immediately, a voice both soft and jagged. "Yes." From that moment, her peaceful retreat morphed into a waking nightmare. She tried to burn the quilt the next morning, taking it outside and setting a match to its fringes. The fire refused to catch. The material felt damp, almost clammy under her touch. She considered leaving it behind, abandoning the cabin altogether. But each time she turned her back, she felt an invisible pull, like clawed fingers tracing her shoulder blades. By nightfall, she'd resigned herself, dragging it back inside with an exhausted sigh. Some bonds mean to ensnare. The voices never argued or shouted. They lulled her with twisted lullabies, coaxing her to stay wrapped in its folds. They offered tantalizing promises. "Stay with us, Amelia." The whispers knew things about her she'd shared with no one, not ever. In fleeting moments of lucidity, she realized that the quilt thrived on her mental unraveling, feeding, growing stronger with each secret it pulled from her subconscious. By the seventh day, the pressure grew unbearable. Her memories blurred. She failed to distinguish reality from hallucination, unable to trust her senses. Amelia no longer recognized herself in the mirror. Her irises seemed darker, her face gaunt, a reflection of the quilt's relentless siege. Was she unraveling from the inside out? Or had she been something else all along? And isn't that the question, dear listener? How much of who we are is truly ours to control? In an act of desperation, Amelia bundled the quilt into a suitcase and drove 50 miles to the nearest donation center. Upon returning to the cabin, she felt lighter, almost euphoric, as if a curse had been lifted. Her optimism, however, was short-lived. That night, she found the quilt folded neatly on the bed again, as though it had never left, and on its aged fabric lay a single pine needle, a token from somewhere far beyond where she had abandoned it. The tale ends with a final whisper you will never forget. I'm home. So, darling, might I ask, how safe is your sanctuary? The cherished objects you cradle for solace, the traditions you treasure. We cling to familiarity like lifelines, but what if those threads are all holding knives in disguise? The shadows need not roar to be heard. They linger, subtle, waiting for you to notice their presence. Rest easy tonight, if you dare, but keep an ear open, won't you? A whisper might be waiting for you too. Until next time, I'll be watching.